You're watching WOI-TV, Ames, Des Moines. And this is 5 TV's Iowa News Tonight. Your news. With Susan Bueller, Jeff Connor with sports, and Pam Dale with the weather.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. The more than 1,000 workers at the Armstrong tire plant in Des Moines may not have jobs to return to in January. Today, union members overwhelmingly rejected a concessions agreement reached last week, and company officials say there will be no more bargaining. But as Don Peitzman reports, an Italian tire maker is buying the plant.
Layoffs may begin at Armstrong early next month after union members voted to defeat a proposal that may have kept the plant from closing in January. One of the 682 workers who cast their ballot wasn't happy with what the company was offering.
They're not giving you anything. All they're wanting is money. They ask in there about, is the company big shots? Are they going to give concessions? They can't get no answer out of it.
After voting early this morning, some employees debated for 2.5 hours on the proposal. But when the ballots were finally counted, it was clear where the rank and file stood. 482 votes were against the $5.50 wage and benefit concession package, while only 200 votes were in favor. One worker wasn't surprised at the outcome.
My reaction is the vote come out no, and I think it should have been because we don't have the right contract to agree on.
One union official expected the vote to be closer and said the negotiating committee had worked very hard on the proposal. But judging from what the company had offered, he said Armstrong management sent a clear message.
Armstrong Tire has basically said they don't want us. You know, that's how I feel about it. And they probably will eventually either sell us to somebody or shut it down.
One company official says although he's disappointed with the vote, the company did all they could.
I think the issue is dead. We have negotiated. We have negotiated over a long period of time with the union leadership, and we've given up some things that were very tough for us to give up.
Hartsuck says despite today's vote, Italian tire manufacturer Pirelli is buying the Armstrong Tire Company. This includes 4 rubber product plants and a fabric plant. Hartsuck says there probably won't be any more negotiations with the union. So he says the only option is to close the plant, eliminating over 1,000 jobs and taking $47 million in annual payroll away from Des Moines. Don Peitzman, 5 TV News.
Des Moines Mayor John Pat Dorian was keeping a close eye on today's Armstrong vote. The mayor told 5 TV News tonight he's disappointed that the union rejected the proposal, but the biggest loser in this labor dispute is the city of Des Moines.
I have difficulty, sorting out who's right and who's wrong here in this, but the city is going to be the biggest loser of all if that plant closes, and I hope that both sides can still meet at the bargaining table and come up with an equitable solution that can be agreed on by both sides.
Dorian says the city's offer of aid to Armstrong, identical to the one Firestone received, is still on the table. He says all Armstrong has to do is ask for the money. What may be the last Farm Aid concert is wrapping up tonight in Lincoln, Nebraska. The 10-hour Song Fest began today at Nebraska's Memorial Stadium, where 70,000 people packed the stands to hear John Denver, the Grateful Dead, Arlo Guthrie, and Willie Nelson, who kicked off the event. Nelson says Farm Aid may be the last benefit concert he organizes because the government and other agencies should be doing more to help financially troubled farmers. The Farm Aid concerts began in 1985. All of the performers donated their services. The crowd at Farm Aid 3 was twice the size as the crowd that turned out for the last day of Pope John Paul's U.S. tour in Detroit. Speaking in Polish, the Pope challenged America to live up to its responsibilities as a world power and urged the faithful to practice the values he preaches. The pontiff also spoke out about social justice in an area of Detroit torn apart by rioting in the 1960s. Tonight in the Philippines, leftists are blaming Corazon Aquino's government for the death of one of its prominent leaders. The leftist leader was killed today outside of his office a few short hours after he called a mass rally to protest the ruling government. Meanwhile, a bundle of dynamite wired with a timing device was found at a governmental apartment of Reform in Manila also today. The Senate confirmation hearings on Supreme Court nominee Robert ended today after a record 5 days of testimony. The extraordinary weekend session was called to allow Senator Arlen Specter of Pennsylvania to continue questioning Bork. Specter is undecided about the nomination. President Reagan, who nominated Bork, called him after the hearings today and said once again Bork demonstrated his qualifications to serve on the highest court. The Senate Judiciary Committee turns to witnesses on Monday who will speak for or against Judge Bork. Former Republican Secretary of State Mary Jane Odell will be one of those witnesses in Washington next week. Odell was asked by the National Federation of Business and Professional Clubs to be a witness at the confirmation hearings. A Federation spokeswoman says the group was looking for a distinguished Republican to speak out against the Bork nomination. Coming up, we'll update you on two Des Moines babies making news these days, and we'll fill you in on a joy ride to today's Iowa State game. Stay with us. It was a big day for football fans across Iowa. The Hawkeyes against the Cyclones. The game drew more than 54,000 people to Ames, but as 5TV's Amy Lynn tells us, it's not who won or lost the game, but how much fun the fans had and how they got.
An opportunity like this to go to Ames with 500 or 700 Iowa Hawkeye fans is really neat. Oh, there are 5. I heard from the conductor there are 5 Cyclone fans on the train.
This Amtrak Superliner, which originated in Chicago, made a special trip to Cedar Rapids this morning, picking up over 500 enthusiastic football fans. Once on board, the Ames-bound fans were entertained by a small brass band and kept themselves busy by the bar. In Ames, the fans immediately filled 7 school buses, and it was pretty clear they just couldn't wait to get to the game.
700 people came on the Amtrak to watch Iowa beat Iowa State. Instantly, no problem. It's a winner.
From the train station, it was on to the tailgates, and as you can see, football fans are out here in full force. This year, tailgate restrictions have tightened up a little. The students have mixed emotions.
I'm kind of bummed at the new tailgate rules because a lot of the people aren't participating.
We still got beer, we still have brats, there's still a bunch of friends, and there's a lot of people here, and we're still having a good time.
Despite the changes, fans were geared up by kickoff time, and the Iowa State University of Iowa rivalry continued. Amy Lynn, 5TV News.
And of course, Jeff will have details in a few minutes. 10-month-old Kyle Foster is back on the list for a liver transplant tonight. He's waiting for his 3rd liver. Kyle's already undergone 2 organ transplants since July. The boy's father told 5TV News tonight that his 2nd liver transplanted a week ago. Doctors are running tests to see if the liver is cancerous. Kyle is listed in critical condition tonight at Chicago hospitals. A 24-year-old became a surrogate mother to an Arizona couple this week. Laura Hilgeman gave birth to a 9-pound, 13-ounce boy Monday, and yesterday, Bernard Lump and Elaine Morton went back to Tucson. The couple has been trying to conceive a child for 5 years. Hilgeman says she didn't accept the $10,000 offered to carry the baby because she became very close to the couple during her pregnancy. Pam joins us with a look at the weather tonight. I don't know about you, but it was just the perfect type of football weather.
Sure was nice and cool and even lots of wind around today. And we'll tell you what the weather will be tomorrow.
There may have been some fans, Pam, that found it a little chilly, but all in all, it was probably a typical fall-like day.
Right. Cool temperatures and a little bit of sprinkles around the state. Our almanac shows that it was a below normal day today. The high temperature only got up to 66 degrees. The low this morning was a chilly 47. Normals for the state are 53 and 75. There has been 3 107 inch of precipitation in Des Moines with the showers that moved through this afternoon. And our sunrise tomorrow morning will be at 7 o'clock. Around the state today, it was a chilly afternoon with temperatures in the mid-60s, a cool 61 degrees in Spencer for an afternoon high temperature, 70 degrees in Osceola was one of the warmer temperatures in the state. As for eastern Iowa, temperatures were just a little bit warmer in the southeast with Burlington 71 degrees. In the northern part of Iowa, temperatures were cooler as clouds covered much of the state with 61 degrees in Spencer and 57 degrees the cool spot in Dubuque. With the clouds, there was also some rain showers across Iowa, and 5TV radar continues to show some rain, just light rain showers in southeastern Iowa, north central Iowa, and in parts of western Iowa also seeing a little bit of rainfall. Most of the showers to the southeast at 35 miles per hour, but they are very light rain showers at this time. Showers across Iowa, and 5TV radar continues to show some rain, just light rain showers in southeastern Iowa, north central Iowa, and in parts of western Iowa also seeing a little bit of rainfall. Most of the showers are moving to the southeast at 35 miles per hour, but they are very light rain showers at this time. Really nothing to speak of. As for the national picture, we're seeing a frontal system stretching along the eastern seaboard with showers and thunderstorms ahead of it. There was a tornado which touched down near Milwaukee this afternoon. Just no damage with it, just a brief tornado. Light rain showers continue to be falling over northern Iowa and much of Minnesota as this low pressure area kicks back a lot of cloudiness. Also, to help produce the rain showers, the upper atmosphere, there's a low pressure area over Minnesota right now, just anchored there, and will be staying there for the next day or so, moving very slowly to the southeast. And with that in the upper atmosphere, it looks like skies will be cloudy for the next few days. Our current conditions outdoors reporting mostly cloudy skies, the temperature 54 degrees in Des Moines, sprinkles and 55 in Ames. The dew point is at 53 degrees with humidity 96%. Winds are from the west at 7 miles per hour, and our barometric pressure is holding steady at 29.94 inches of mercury. For tomorrow then, the low pressure area will still be moving very slowly off to the east. Rain showers will be scattered all along these clouds. Temperatures will be cool once again in the 60s. Farther to the west, though, there'll be just a little bit more sunshine, and temperatures to the south in the 70s. Our forecast for tonight for central Iowa, skies will be mostly cloudy. There's a chance for some scattered light rain showers with a low temperature of 49 degrees. Winds will be northwest 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow will be mostly cloudy and still cool with on and off sprinkles. High temperature 63 degrees. Winds will be northwest 15 to 25. Mostly cloudy skies continuing tomorrow night with a low temperature 49 degrees, and clouds will be decreasing on Monday. Still cool, though, with a high temperature 65 degrees, so not really much of a problem with the rain, but some on and off sprinkles for tonight, but still cloudy skies and cool temperatures.
Fall-like weather.
That's right.
And that brings the big rivalry, the intrastate rivalry.
That's right, Susan. In fact, this was the first time that Hayden Fry and Jim Walden have coached against each other. We'll have the highlights next on Sports.
I got the chance, Jeff, to watch the first quarter of the game. It was really exciting, although it did take a couple of turn of events, as you know. Did you expect it to end up this way?
Well, I don't know. The first quarter I was down on the field, and you were kind of wondering if things were going to be a little bit different this year, but not to be the case. The Iowa Hawkeyes have dominated Iowa State for the past 4 years, and this year, with the addition of a new coach and a new game plan, Cyclone fans were hoping that maybe this would be their year. But Hayden Fry and the Hawkeyes spoiled those hopes with a 39-point victory over ISU. 5TV's John Hambrecht has the highlights.
Kevin Harmon led an offensive show for the Iowa Hawkeyes today against Iowa State. Harmon rushed for a career-high 179 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had 130 yards rushing in the first half alone. 2 of those touchdowns were set up by turnovers by the Cyclones. Derek DeGennaro threw 2 interceptions that led to Hawkeye scores. This Harmon 3-yard touchdown gave Iowa a 24-9 lead. Iowa State had to rely on 3 Jeff Shudak field goals for all their scoring today. One bright spot for the Cyclones was this Eddie Bridges takeaway catch on the long bomb from Brett Sadek. The Hawkeyes defense stopped the Cyclones in the second half. The Cyclones only had 35 total yards on offense. Iowa quarterback Chuck Hartley passed for 175 yards. This 8-yard pass to David Hudson gave Iowa a 34-9 lead in the third quarter. Iowa went on to beat Iowa State 48-9. The Hawkeyes have now won the last 5 games against their state rivals. Iowa is 2-1, and the Cyclones are 0-2.
You know, I thought they played real hard. I thought Iowa State kids really came after us and did a heck of a job. And they moved the ball up and down, and they had to settle for 3 field goals.
I'm a little disappointed in the fact that from when the score was 10-6 and we seemed to be playing very good football, the kind of football I hope people will get used to seeing, we kind of self-destructed there with 2 turnovers and then let a good team get away from us, and we just not good enough, and I'm not going to defend my defense. They're just simply not good enough to keep a team as good as and as physical as Iowa is when they're only having to defend about 1/4 the field.
Next week, Iowa plays its first home game against Kansas State, and Iowa State travels to Wyoming. John Hambrecht, 5TV Sports.
And a reminder, you can catch the replay of the Iowa State game tonight at 11 o'clock right here on Channel 5. Well, here are the rest of today's scores involving Big Ten teams. Oregon loses to Ohio State 24-14. Junior tailback Vince Workman rushed for 162 yards and 1 touchdown. Tim Brown returned two consecutive punts, that's what we're trying to say here, for touchdowns for Notre Dame as they just whomped on Michigan State, the final 31-8. Brown had 275 all-purpose yards. Washington State loses to Michigan 44-18. It was Illinois over East Carolina 20-10. Indiana loses to Kentucky 34-15. Minnesota does a number on California 32-23. Missouri over Northwestern 28-3. Louisville and Purdue end up in a 22-all tie. That's a final. And Utah defeated Wisconsin 31-28. Taking a look at today's results involving Big 8 teams, Oklahoma State a 35-29 winner over Wyoming. Kent State defeats Kansas 31-17. The Buffaloes a big winner over Stanford 31-17. Missouri whomps Northwestern 28-3. And Army really does the number on Kansas State. The final 41-14. The Big 8 was 3-3 in action today. And here's a look at the rest of today's college football results involving top 20 teams plus the games of local interest. The Drake Bulldogs kicked off their home schedule of Division III football this afternoon by playing host to Graceland College of Lamoni, Iowa. Drake jumped out to a 7-0 lead, and in the second quarter, quarterback Steve Osterberger hit Paul Crutchfeld a 2-yard score. It was 14-0. The Bulldogs completely shut down the Yellow Jackets offense. Defensive tackle Gary Howe pulled in this deflection off a Graceland receiver for the turnover. And that turnover resulted in 3 points for the Bulldogs as kicker Andy Cook split the uprights from 48 yards out. That was the second longest field goal in Drake history. The Bulldogs led at halftime 17-0. They went on to win by a score of 24-7. Well, turning to baseball, the Minnesota Twins played host to the Cleveland Indians this afternoon in the Metrodome. Twins shortstop Greg Gagne hit his 8th home run of the season. That one came in the first inning, and Minnesota was on top by a score of 1-0. Then it was Gary Gaetti's turn in the bottom of the 4th, a solo shot over the right center field wall. That was his 30th home run of the season. The Twins were on top 2-0. Both teams added one more as the Twins beat the Indians the final 3-1. Checking in with the rest of the American League results from today, in Detroit, the Tigers defeated the Brewers 5-2. The Yankees beat the Blue Jays 4-2. The Mariners were a 10-8 winner over the White Sox. The Red Sox and Orioles were rained out. In the 8th inning, Oakland is leading Kansas City 8-4, a key game there. And also in the 8th inning, the Rangers and Angels are tied at 3 runs apiece. Well, moving on to the National League, Cincinnati loses to San Francisco 5-1. The Mets beat the Pirates 5-4. The Expos bombed the Phillies by a score of 12-4. The Cubs lose to the Cardinals 5-3. In the 10th inning, the Astros and Padres are tied up at 1 run apiece. And in the 3rd inning, the Braves and the Dodgers are also tied at 1 run apiece. The executive director of the NFL Players Association, Gene Upshaw, said today that the Sunday morning is still on. In New York, the NFL Management Council said it made numerous concessions on Friday. However, Upshaw feels it's just another management ploy to persuade the players.
I must say that the next move that management will probably make, and we all would predict that they'll make this move, would go directly to the players, bypassing the bargaining committee, and try to get the players to accept this position in principle.
That strike is set to begin on Tuesday morning, which means the Monday night game between the Jets and Patriots could be the last one, at least for a while.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Coming up, we'll tell you how Danish donations are going in Des Moines. Stay with us. The smell of freshly baked breads and pastries drew many of you to the second floor of the Hotel Fort Des Moines today. The Iowa Bakers Association is holding its 83rd annual convention this weekend, and as 5TV's Fred D'Souza found out, your basic chocolate cake just doesn't cut it anymore.
Has come a long way since Grandma's pumpkin pies. Nowadays, it's a multi-million-dollar industry. And today, Iowa's bakers did a little showing off.
Finally, our final layer goes on top. Give it a gentle pat, okay?
Each baker here is also donating bread to charity. They say by the end of the convention, they'll have over 2,000 loaves of bread for the area needy.
They don't just distribute around Des Moines, but they cover most of the state. So tomorrow there should be a lot of bread out there.
The convention featured everything from breads and bagels to donuts and the latest in the tools of the trade.
What you can do is take your skill.
But one of the most popular stops was the Cahokia flower display, where Charlie Beiersdorfer was doing his stuff.
Sure, I eat a piece of cake there and there, but I get more enjoyment out of creating this type of thing than I do eating it. Eating it is for fellas like you. And
you know, folks like you and me can stand in the kitchen for a day and still not have anything looking this good. Charlie put this cake together in about 5 minutes. You know, Ma always said I needed some meat on my bones. Who says you can't have your cake and eat it too? Fred D'Souza, 5 TV News.
I really hope he brought some goodies back for us.
Looks tasty.
Yeah.
It'll be cold tonight. Good time to eat some stuff, I guess. Make you warmer, I don't know. Temperatures tonight, 49 degrees, cold.
All right, thanks, Pam. That's our news this Saturday night. Thanks for joining us.